The situation in the Middle East is rapidly approaching a critical point. Iran admits the possibility of developing nuclear weapons, which has become the reason for a harsh reaction from the United States. American President Donald Trump has issued an ultimatum to the Iranian authorities, which includes 3 key demands: the destruction of all Iranian missiles, the cessation of the activities of research centers engaged in missile and space technologies, and the full normalization of relations with Israel, including the opening of an Israeli embassy in Tehran. At the same time, apparently, Washington understands that the authorities of the Islamic Republic are unlikely to fulfill these conditions and is preparing for a forceful scenario. It is significant that, in support of its intentions, the US approved for the first time the transfer to Israel of the most powerful non-nuclear GBU-43/B aerial bomb, known as the mother of all bombs. This weapon, weighing almost 10 tons, is designed to destroy fortified underground facilities and has previously been used only once, in Afghanistan. Experts suggest that the Israeli army could use these bombs against Iranian nuclear facilities. In addition, the US approved the supply of weapons to Israel worth almost $8 billion, including 20,000 aerial bombs and missiles. These steps also indicate preparation for a possible military conflict. In turn, Iran is also demonstrating its readiness for confrontation. The country's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, said that the US is not a reliable partner and negotiations with them are useless. Moreover, the command of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps suggested that Khamenei cancelled a fatwa prohibiting the development of nuclear weapons. According to IRGC commanders, Iran has never been so vulnerable, and now is the country's last chance to obtain weapons of mass destruction that will guarantee its security. Experts believe that Tehran is either close to creating a bomb or has achieved this goal and is now seeking to legitimize its status as a nuclear power. At the same time, the situation in Lebanon has worsened. Syrian troops, on the orders of the country's new leader, entered Lebanese territory, capturing several border towns that were used by the Hezbollah group to smuggle weapons. This is the first invasion of the Syrian army into Lebanon since the fall of the Assad regime. Fighting between Syrian troops and pro-Iranian militants has already led to significant losses on both sides. At the same time, the Lebanese army, which received millions of dollars from the US and Europe to fight Hezbollah, is now acting jointly with this group, striking Syrian positions. Against the backdrop of the above-described events, Trump's statements that Israel has trampled Hezbollah and now it is necessary to deal with Lebanon in the same way as in the case of Iran sound like a direct threat. The American president apparently intends to radically change the balance of power in the Middle East, and he has little time left to do this, only 4 years until the end of his presidential term. Hundreds of foreign troops are fighting in Ukraine. Among those soldiers of fortune are Colombians, writes the Wall Street Journal. The publication told about Johnny Pinilla, who defends Ukraine from Russian aggression. For 10 years, the man fought with guerrillas in the jungles of his country, but those crazy battles seemed like a vacation to him compared to what he saw in Ukraine, where he had to flee from Russian artillery fire. I had no idea whether I would live or die, the 40-year-old recalls. Difficulties were added not only by the foreign language, but also by the unfamiliar alphabet and the sub-zero temperature, which contrasted sharply with the tropical heat to which the man was accustomed. However, he himself says that he sees no alternative to life in battle. War is the only profession I know. Fighters like Johnny Pinilla are part of a growing market of veterans from poor countries looking to make money, most of them pursuing drug and human traffickers. According to Ukraine, 20,000 foreign soldiers have joined its ranks, including people from the Caucasus and even the Indian subcontinent, East Asia and South America. Among the troops defending Ukraine are Argentines, who once served in Haiti, Brazilians who fought drug traffickers, Algerians and Kenyans who fought Al-Qaeda in Africa. A veteran of the Taiwanese army, which is now also facing the threat of invasion from China, died in Pinilla's unit in October 2022. Some mercenaries are adrenaline junkies. Others are driven by a hint of idealism. Pinilla said he and many of his comrades want to support a country that really needs help against Russia. If the mercenaries only wanted money, he said, they would go to Mexico and join drug cartels, the report says. Pinilla spent 12 years fighting Marxist rebels in the Colombian jungle. In 2014, he left the army and tried to join other Colombians applying for a new mercenary job. After passing the first selection, he spent 3 months training before some of the men in the group bribed a doctor to pass a physical. According to Putler, the recruiter found out and turned them all away. For nearly a decade, he made ends meet, working as a security guard for wealthy businessmen. But the man kept looking for work abroad. In mid-2023, while scrolling through a WhatsApp group of Colombian veterans, he saw a job offer. The Ukrainian army was recruiting experienced fighters for $3,300 a month to fight, compared to $500 for a Colombian officer, so he decided to go. In Ukraine, the man commands a 30-man intelligence unit. The foreigners were also assigned a translator, although much communication took place via smartphone apps. But Colombians are not only fighting on the Ukrainian side. One day, a commander told Johnny Putler that intercepts indicated that his unit might encounter other Colombians fighting for Russia. When asked what he would do, Putler replied that his men would fight them because anyone who sides with Russia is an enemy, regardless of whether they are from our country or not. Since the beginning of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, hundreds of citizens from different parts of the world have come to defend the Ukrainian people from Russian aggression. There were volunteers from the US, Taiwan, Brazil, and even South Korea. Unfortunately, among the foreign volunteers, there are missing persons and those who paid the highest price, gave their lives in the war for Ukraine.
A Chinese Navy helicopter flew within 10 feet of a Philippine patrol plane on Tuesday in a disputed area of the South China Sea, as the Filipino pilot warned over the radio, "You are flying too close, you are very dangerous." According to Associated Press, the Cessna Caravan turboprop plane of the Philippine Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources defied the Chinese Navy's order for it to leave and continued its routine patrol over the hotly disputed Scarborough Shoal off the northwestern Philippines. The plane was carrying an Associated Press journalist and other invited foreign media representatives, who witnessed the tense 30-minute standoff. "Keep away and distance your aircraft from us. You are violating the safety standards set by the FAA and ICAO," the Philippine pilot radioed during the tense encounter. The pilot was referring to the standard distance between aircraft required by the Federal Aviation Administration and the International Civil Aviation Organization to prevent air disaster. The Philippine Coast Guard and the Bureau of Fisheries said in a statement they remain committed to asserting our sovereignty, sovereign rights and maritime jurisdiction in the West Philippine Sea, despite the aggressive and escalatory actions of China. West Philippine Sea is the Philippine name for the stretch of waters in the South China Sea close to the Philippines' western coast. Chinese officials did not immediately comment on the incident, but in past encounters they have steadfastly asserted China's sovereignty over the Scarborough and surrounding waters and warned that its forces would protect its territorial interests at all costs. The dangerous encounter, which is expected to be protested by the Philippine government, is the latest red flag in the decades-long territorial standoff involving China, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan in one of the world's busiest trade routes.
China's military helicopter. This is Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources of the Philippine government. Cessna Caravan 280 Romeo Papa 1077, conducting a lawful